Hey, 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 how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Spirit Speaks experience for today. How you doing? I just went to see Hercules today. It was amazing in London. Awesome with my two oldest daughters. Very, very cool. I'm very much into the whole Disney thing. Love it, love it, love it. Anyway, hey, I'm Rosemary Nolly Knight. How are you doing? This is the Spirit Speaks experience, and I am the Prosperity Minister and a business coach to ambitious spiritual people determined to manifest at least 5 to 10K each and every month or more whilst living luxuriously in their purpose. I help you leave behind the pain, the limiting beliefs of the past, rise victorious in your true design life, which to me is a free, fulfilled, financially abundant, love drenched life if you will claim it. Okay. So I'm all about combining practical action with internal action to create real world results. The whole learning how to manipulate energy, turn it into matter, all of that stuff. Now, to understand more about all of that, you get a copy of my book, which is the Money Manifestation Mastering and Strategic Divine Guidance book. You can message me the word book in order to get a copy of that. Today, we're talking about 5 hidden loyalties, keeping ambitious spiritual people underpaid, underexpressed, and spiritually stifled. Okay. Um, we're going to start by reading the divine download as we always do. Hopefully you know what that is by now, which is ultimately just me sitting down with the divine, asking for a message for my paying community, the Deliberate Millionaire Gathering. And I'm sharing some of these messages with you because I've been doing it for years now. So I'm sharing some of the ones from previous years with you. So the one we're looking at today, listen in, eyes closed. Oh, can you hear the word? I'm sorry, right now I have Hercules all in my head. I can go the distance. Oh, yes. I love that. Anyway, the divine download. Eyes closed, hands on heart. Oh, wow. Okay. Eyes closed, just so you can hear what I'm saying. Okay. Have your notebook to hand. Who knows? The divine might speak specifically to you through this message. Yeah. Okay. Listen in. Start listening to those nudges, those whispers, those impressions that seek to gain your attention. Stop stopping yourself from becoming even more connected to me than you are. You hold on so desperately to what you call logic, to what you have been taught is reason and common sense, and you block out so much data trying to get to you. You are forcing yourself to stay stuck in a small cage that feels so uncomfortable. You would breathe a deep breath of relief if you stopped stifling yourself. I understand it will take courage, but I am here offering you that courage. See me as source. See yourself as a self contained unit because you are. It is fear of losing the esteem and love of others in your world that keeps you from exploring all the various parts of yourself. And I invite you to see that you do not need that esteem and love as much as you think you do. I'm not suggesting that you have to become isolated, but I am suggesting that killing off parts of yourself in order to accommodate what you think others need and want from you is stifling and terrible for you. I invite you to feel the freedom of being yourself again, as you originally intended for yourself. There is so much more life to experience. Allow it. Okay? So, so the divine starts by saying, start listening to those nudges, those whispers, those impressions that seek to gain your attention. Okay? Sorry, let me look again at my notes here. Okay, that means, yeah, there are nudges already there. There are whispers already that and we spoke about this a little bit yesterday, that there are things inside of you that you are not fully expressing. Yeah, the divine isn't silent. The data is trying to get to you. The guidance isn't absent. The path is not hidden. Okay, but something in you keeps blocking it, something in you that says it's too much or it's not logical. What will people think? I can't be that version of myself. I can't say that. I can't change that. I can't leave that relationship. I can't admit that I don't want to be around those people. I can't become that connected to the divine because people might think I'm weird. And so these are hidden loyalties at work. Maybe you're, and we're going to talk about 5 of them. We're going to talk about 5 of them. So let's get straight into those 5 based on what the divine was talking about there. So the first hidden loyalty is this: loyalty to logic over divine data. So the divine says, you hold on so desperately to what you call logic, to what you've been taught is reason and common sense, and you block out so much data trying to get to you. Okay. Again, you receive the data, you receive the nudges, you receive the impressions, you receive the whispers, you receive the insights. You get the sense that maybe you should go and speak to that person or create that business, create that offer, write that post, raise that price, stop doing that thing, start doing the other thing, whatever it is, change your schedule, tell the truth, take a break, whatever. You get the message. But then logic comes along and tells you that, oh no, that's not sensible. Oh no, 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 you haven't worked hard enough today. Oh no, 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 that's not how people like me do things. I need to be realistic. I should wait until I have more proof, or I need to think about this just a little bit longer. Oh, don't rock the boat, don't rock the boat. And these things sound so sensible. Oh, I can't charge that. I can't build that purpose-led income path from my skills and my wisdom. No, 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 of course I can't make that kind of money. No, 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 I can't. And it all sounds really logical. The thing about doubt is that it always sounds like common sense. Always, 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 always. Okay, and so the divine is telling you that you are blocking out data when you choose logic, which I'm not saying to never choose logic. There is a place for logic. There is a place for being reasonable, for common sense. It's not either or, but you live as though it is. You live as though it is, and you hear me saying that you should live as though it is, because from your perspective, you live as though logic is the only thing that matters. You're hearing me and you're thinking I'm saying that divine data is the only thing that matters. I'm saying both. Okay, I'm saying both. But if you're allowing your programming to work, then all you're hearing is, oh, ignore logic and just be all woo. That's not what I'm asking you to do at all. But I am asking you to pay attention to your intuition as well as logic. But do not give logic so much, do not put logic up there, whereas your intuition is, oh, well, I can't trust that. No, 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 no. Because that's how ambitious spiritual people, or one of the reasons why ambitious spiritual people stay underpaid, underexpressed, and stifled. Okay? Because you do get the idea for how you can go beyond what you've done to date, but you favor logic instead of also listening to your intuition and figuring out with logic, how can I take this intuition and turn it into something real in the physical reality. Okay, so ask yourself, where am I calling fear logic? Where am I calling obedience to my old programming common sense? Where am I blocking divine data because it doesn't fit what I was taught to expect or to live, or to what I was taught to expect ultimately? If you this so yeah, if you keep being loyal to just logic, you will struggle to live luxuriously in your purpose. Okay, that's number one. Number two, loyalty to respectability over deeper divine connection. Respectability over deeper divine connection. The divine said, stop stopping yourself from becoming even more connected to me than you are. Okay, so you are connected. Absolutely. Everybody is. Okay, there's no way anybody can exist without that connection to the divine. So it's not that you're not connected, but in order to live to the fullness that you desire to, continuing to deepen that connection is critical. It's, to me, it's pragmatic. It's not a religious thing. It's not even, to me, it's not even a spiritual thing. Okay, so the chances that only spiritual people talk about it the way I do. However, to me, it's pragmatic because it's your source. So the deeper your connection to source, the more energy you have available to create whatever it is that you're looking to create. Okay, so yeah, you want more connection to the divine. The problem is that your loyalty is to being looked at with respect. You want the respect of your peers, your family, your loved ones, your professional circle, your social circle, your religious circle, your spiritual circle, more than you want that depth of connection to the divine. So, yeah, you want the guidance, but not if it makes you look too strange. Yeah, you want the deeper connection, but not if people think you've gone too far. Okay, you want the divine nudges, but not if those nudges make you change how you're showing up in the world, or what you have to say, or what you charge, or who you help, or what you teach, or who you spend time with, or even what you tolerate. You don't really want anything to change, but at the same time, you want change. Okay, so it does kind of feel a bit like an either or situation, because either you're going to be respected or you're going to be fully connected. It's not either or, but you think it is. Either you're going to keep people's esteem or you're going to follow the divine more deeply. It's not either or, but you think it is. Either I remain understandable to everybody on the planet or I become who I really am. It is not either or, but you think it is. Okay? The truth of the matter is, you have great respect for people who show up powerfully as who they are. You have great respect for people who show up with their spiritual connection. And yet you doubt that if you show up with your spiritual connection, that people will respect you. Is that true though? Is that true? I'm not going to pretend that every single person on the planet is going to love you, but that is the case whenever anybody shows up as themselves. Okay. You do not need, this is not a popularity contest. In fact, that's why one of my chapters in my book, prosperity book, talks about, it's not a popularity contest. Yeah, they're going to be your specific people who you are called to serve. The people who are meant to be in your life, they will see you, and you fully being loyal to the life you're meant to live, the connection with the divine you're meant to have, you will be respected for that by the right people. You do not need to be respected by every single person on the planet. Because this whole hiding yourself thing, it keeps you, it keeps you surrounded by people that you have to continually hide yourself for. Again, you want change. You want to live that big life, but you want to do it while staying trapped with this loyalty to being respectable rather than deepening your connection to the divine. So again, ask yourself questions. Where do I want the divine, but only if only if it doesn't make me look different? Where am I choosing respectability over revelation? Where am I staying spiritually polite when the divine is actually inviting you into deeper connection, which might not seem immediately polite? Okay, that's, ask yourself these questions so you know, and get deliberate. Am I choosing to be respectable over deepening my connection to the divine? And is it actually a conscious choice I'm making, or have I just fallen into it? Notice. Number 3, loyalty to acceptability over self acceptance. Okay. So underneath this fear of you being weird or too much or too spiritual or too bold or too different or too ambitious, there's this, ultimately, this quiet belief inside of you that there's something wrong with you. Something the divine was saying to me recently is about being valid, or deciding that you are valid without somebody else telling you that you're valid. Whereas most ambitious spiritual people walk around feeling invalid, feeling like something is wrong with them. Okay. So you may not say it as plainly as that, but you almost like hide parts of yourself even from the divine. It's almost like, because you don't feel completely valid, you don't completely accept yourself, you don't think the divine is going to completely accept you, and you definitely don't think that other people are going to accept you, so you hide those unacceptable parts of yourself. Okay. Almost like you're trying to protect people and the divine from those parts of yourself that you think are bad. Okay. Yeah, you're hiding. And it is because you're trying to protect people, because you think that part of you that is invalid or horrible is so horrible that nobody needs to be exposed to it. It's not conscious that you're thinking this wrongness you perceive within yourself. And it's an underlying self hatred, really, which affects everything. Okay? It affects everything. So you're trying not to reveal too much of what you really think or perceive, or the insights you're getting, because again, there's that part of you that you feel is really invalid and should not be shown, and people need, and the divine needs to be protected from that part of you. That idea that there's something inherently wrong with you, it affects everything. The idea that you get things wrong all the time affects everything. It does affect how much money you allow yourself to create because you do not fully trust yourself to create or to charge or to sell or to receive or to lead. Okay, it affects the way you express yourself in the world because you keep editing yourself before people even get to experience the real you. Yeah, and then it definitely affects your divine connection because you do not bring all of yourself into the relationship because again, you think that the divine needs to be protected from those bad, horrible parts of yourself. You bring the acceptable parts of you, the parts that you have accepted, the cleaned up parts, the explainable parts, the parts that make sense, the parts that won't scare anyone or so you have judged. But self love must go beyond all of that. It is accepting all parts of you. Okay? It's not about just affirming, I love myself, and then stifling the real parts of you. No, no. You need to see all of you and accept all of you, the intensity, the ambition, the spirituality, the desires, the questions, the gifts, the weirdness, the hunger, the longing, the directness, the softness, the power inside of you, the parts of you that no longer fit inside other people's expectations, accepting all of that. And it doesn't mean that you'll never grow or that you just accept yourself the way I am and you never have to change anything. I'm not really saying that, although in order to expand and to grow and to become more of who you are, you need to accept who you are now. Okay? Because if not, even you'll be hiding those horrible parts of yourself. And we've talked about, well, depending on how many of these you've listened to, I talk about a lot about frozen personalities and that frozen parts of you. And if you're hiding from those parts of you, they can't heal. They can't shift. You have to start with self acceptance now. You cannot grow by rejecting yourself, okay? You can't. So ask yourself, where am I trying to be acceptable instead of actually fully owning the whole of me? Where am I stifling parts of myself because I don't believe they are valid? Because I don't believe that they are valid. And I really want you to think about that word being valid. Okay? Where do I keep hiding from the divine, from people, and from myself? That's the third loyalty. Number four, loyalty. Loyalty to obligation over purpose. Loyalty to duty over purpose. Okay? Now, the divine says in that divine download, see yourself as a self contained unit because you are. I really want you to think about this whole self contained unit because a lot of the choices you make are really based on the people around you because there's an internal feeling that you need everyone to love you, to accept you. And we've mentioned it a few times, but if you start to understand that you are self contained, that you and the divine are truly enough, then you'll stop making choices that are based on pleasing everyone rather than making your purpose, making you a priority in your own life. Because you are a self contained unit. You're a self-contained unit. Doesn't mean you have to be isolated. It doesn't mean that you'll never love anyone. It doesn't mean that you never receive support or anything like that. No, it's not about that. But you do need to know that everything you need to thrive in life is already within you. You and the divine are enough. That you really do need to understand that it's not just something we say. It's real. You and the divine are enough. So people are not your source. Your job is not your source. The family is not your source. Approval from anybody is not your source. You do not have to reduce yourself for anyone. You do not have to edit yourself for anyone. You don't have to be anyone other than yourself in order to make anyone comfortable. And it really matters because when I'm working with clients, a lot of the reason why they don't live in their purpose is simply comes down to is to the people around them and the fact that you're editing yourself in order to fit, to blend in, to continue to be needed, to be everything to all people and all of that stuff. Okay? Family relationships, friendships, connections, all of that. People who really want you to fit into the box that they have fit you into. Again, this is not saying that you need to exclude everybody from your life, but are you more loyal to them than you are to your purpose? Really? Do you choose to do what you think duty demands from you more than you choose to live in your purpose? Okay? Really think about this. People who expect access to you because of history or blood or shared pasts or shared religion or shared obligation, do they get more of your energy than you do? Okay. People who really, because sometimes we, in our blood relatives, we give so much credence to when, if they weren't your blood relative, you probably would not have anything to do with them because of the way they treat you at times. Okay. But a lot of ambitious spiritual people end up throwing themselves back into relationships because they tell themselves, this is blood and it is sacred and I have to do this. It is just, it makes me a good person and blah, 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 blah. There's no boundaries in place. And then they wonder why they're not able to live in their purpose. It's because all of your energy is going towards maintaining relationships that are draining you. And you tell yourself, well, I have to. It's what love is. No, that's codependency. It's not love, honey. Okay, it's not noble. It's not loving. It's not spiritual maturity. No, continually throwing yourself into a relationship that is always hurting you is not useful to you. And definitely it will keep you from the life that you're actually meant to live. I see it too many times. And because we've been programmed and trained to believe that you're supposed to give up what you desire to favor what everybody else desires, you think it is the right way, but it's not. It's not. Okay. Questions. Where am I choosing obligation over purpose? Where am I treating a false tie as sacred? Where am I spending my life force managing a connection that continually hurts me? Pay attention to the answer to those questions and start to give yourself permission to rethink some of your loyalties to some of the relationships in your life. There's no blanket rule here, but most people apply blanket rules to all the relationships in their life and give them all the relationships priority over the relationship you have with yourself. No. That's sometimes one of the things I have to help clients really start to see. Where are they? Just putting priority in the wrong places. Number 5, loyalty to smallness over money mastery. The divine says, you are forcing yourself to stay stuck in a small cage that feels so uncomfortable. You have fit yourself into a cage. It's around your beliefs, around what you think you're allowed, around what you think people expect from you. It's familiar. Okay. You know how to survive in your little cage. You know what's acceptable there. You know how to keep people calm in your cage. You know how to not be judged too much in your cage. You know how to not be seen when you don't want to be seen. Okay. So even though you say you desire more and you want to live luxurious in your purpose, you stay loyal to that small cage. The smaller income than you would like, the smaller expression than you would like, the smaller connection to the divine than you would like, the smaller visibility, smaller receiving, though you don't always know you're receiving less than you would really like, except you can see it in your life that there's that restriction, that financial restriction, and restriction in other areas of your life as well. You know, there's lack of boundaries. You don't trust yourself as much. It's a small life in a very stifling cage. And the divine said you would breathe a deep breath of relief if you stopped stifling yourself. Okay? You would breathe a deep breath of relief if you stopped stifling yourself, but you can't always see where you're stifling yourself. And this is where getting support really does come in handy. You can't always see where you're stifling yourself. And you know that's true. All you know is that you feel caged, trapped, and you're not always sure why. Like most people would say, oh, I get in my own way. Yeah, but do you know how? Again, this loyalty to this small self means that you just kind of stick with it thinking that that's just the way life is. No, it's not. No, it's not. The divine says, I invite you to feel the freedom of being yourself again as you originally intended for yourself. There is so much more life to experience. Allow it. That is an invitation to you to feel the freedom of being yourself again. Okay, not the version of you that you created to just survive. You're being invited to a bigger life if you will be willing to see where you've caged yourself. And the cage for each person is different, which is why, yeah, sometimes if you can't see it for yourself, getting support is necessary so that you start to see where you're getting in your own way. We start to see what is stopping you from moving forward. So questions to ask yourself here, where am I still loyal to the cage? Where am I stifling the person who could master money manifestation? Where am I choosing the cage because freedom feels a little bit too bold? You don't always know you're doing this. It's just you can hear what I'm saying to you and it resonates. It's time to do something about it. So the 5 hidden loyalties here are loyalty to logic over divine data. That's loyalty to logic over your intuition, number 1. Number 2, loyalty to being respectable over deepening that divine connection. Loyalty to acceptability, so to being accepted by everybody around you rather than self-acceptance. Loyalty to obligation over your purpose, or loyalty to smallness over mastering money. That last one as well, it's a big one for spiritual people because it's almost difficult to really admit that you do want to master making money. The invitation from the divine is clear. Start listening to yourself. Start listening to that intuitive nudges, those insights within you. Start listening to the resonance when you know what your next step is. Listen. For some of you, that is get a copy of the book. Get a copy of the book, The Money Manifestation Mastery and Strategic Divine Guidance book. Message me the word book and I'll get you the link so you can get a copy of the book. Okay? Stop stopping yourself. Stop stifling yourself. No, it's not about being isolated when we're talking about the whole obligation to family, to friends. It's not about isolating yourself, but it's definitely about giving priority to your purpose over obligation. Okay? All these false ties, questioning things rather than just accepting them as that's just the way it is. Is it though? Is it though? So again, you're invited to get a copy of the book. Message me the word book and I'll get the link to you. And let's end this by saying the love prayer together like we like to do. Let me get that up on the screen for those who can see my screen. That's where we will be. And for the rest of you all that can't see it, just hands on heart, close eyes. Let's do this together. Speak to the divine. And even as you're hearing me or saying it with me, feel love energy flooding through every part of you right now. Your love dissolves all doubt. Your love dissolves all fear. Your love keeps me focused. Your love keeps me clear. Your love dissolves all guilt. Your love dissolves all shame. Your love keeps me focused. Your love keeps me in the game. Your love dissolves regret. Your love dissolves despair. Your love restores my hope, my peace, my joy. Your love restores my youth and my years. Your love dissolves resentment and envy. Your love dissolves hate and rage. Your love dissolves any bitter root within me. Your love rebuilds my self-trust and my faith. Your love flows freely through me right now, resolving, dissolving, evolving. Your love flows freely through me right now, harmonizing and adjusting. Your love flows freely through me right now, resolving, dissolving, evolving. Your love makes me magnetic to the desires of my heart. Again, take a look at those desires, those goals that you have. Picture love flooding through them, making you magnetic to them now. I feel your love propelling me forward into greater and greater financial prosperity right now. Money, wealth, riches are flooding into my life from everywhere and in great abundance, with ease and with speed. Thank you. Okay, and that, my darlings, brings us to the end of today's Spirit Speaks experience. Such a pleasure sharing this with you. Until the next time, go forth and prosper. Bye.